In a world where every customer interaction, no matter how routine, leaves someone feeling valued, respected, and heard. That's the world empathy builds. This is the empathy advantage, how to win customers for life. I've spent years listening to thousands of calls, reading hundreds of emails, and watching people change, not because they learned new systems, but because they learned to care differently. Empathy isn't a script. It's a choice. A choice to pause before replying. A choice to see the person behind the problem. In this audiobook, you'll discover the mindset and methods that turn ordinary service into unforgettable experiences, and customers into lifelong advocates. Let's begin, where all great service begins, with listening. Every customer interaction begins with a choice, to hear a problem, or to hear a person. Most of us think service is about speed, accuracy, and scripts. But beneath every question, there's an emotion waiting to be understood. Every customer interaction begins with a choice, to hear a problem, or to hear a person. Most of us think service is about speed, accuracy, and scripts. But beneath every question, there's an emotion waiting to be understood. Coaching segment. Empathy begins when you stop listening for data and start listening for emotion. Behind every "I can't log in" may be anxiety about lost time or fear of a financial mistake. Behind every "I'm upset" may be disappointment that someone broke a promise. Your job is not just to solve the issue, but to acknowledge the emotion attached to it. Next time you speak to a customer, silently ask yourself, what's this person really feeling right now? Then mirror that feeling in your tone before offering a solution. Connection doesn't slow you down, it speeds up trust. And trust is the foundation of loyalty. Takeaway line. Empathy is hearing what isn't said. Listening is more than waiting for your turn to speak. It's the deliberate act of giving someone the space to feel heard. Most people listen to reply. Great service professionals listen to understand. They pay attention to words, tone, and even silence, because silence often tells you more than speech. Here's how to practice the science of listening. First, eliminate distractions. When you listen with divided attention, you lose emotional detail. The human voice carries microtones of tension, relief, and gratitude. You can't pick them up if you're multitasking. Second, mirror the customer's energy, not their emotion. If someone is angry, you can acknowledge that energy without reflecting the anger itself. A calm, grounded tone is contagious. It tells the customer their feelings are safe, and you're in control. Third, summarize and confirm. Simple phrases like "let me make sure I understood correctly" or "here's what I'm hearing from you" build confidence instantly. They prove you're listening, not assuming. And finally, use pauses as empathy tools. A brief silence after a customer's statement communicates thoughtfulness. It says, "I'm considering what you said." Key insight. When people feel heard, they naturally become more cooperative. The conversation transforms from confrontation into collaboration. Takeaway. The best listeners make people feel seen, not fixed. Every word you speak in customer service carries emotional weight. You can't control what a customer brings into the call, but you can control the language you use to shape the experience. Empathy thrives on ownership words, phrases that show willingness and accountability. Instead of saying, "that's our policy," try "here's what I can do within our policy." That small shift turns a barrier into a bridge. Use softer connectors. "I completely understand how that feels. Let's look at this together. I want to make sure you're comfortable with the next step." These phrases humanize digital communication and reset tone in seconds. Avoid defensive language. Words like "you should have," "we already told you," or "that's not my fault" create distance. Replace them with action-focused empathy, "let's fix that right now," or "I can see how that caused confusion." Finally, layer your tone. Warmth in your voice matters more than the words themselves. A kind sentence delivered coldly loses its meaning. An average phrase spoken sincerely builds trust. Key insight. Language is emotional architecture. It builds or breaks trust one word at a time. Takeaway. Words can defend or disarm. Choose wisely. Empathy is pattern recognition. It's the ability to interpret what customers feel even when they don't say it directly. Humans leak emotion through microsignals, sighs, hesitation, sudden changes in pace, or shorter sentences. When you sense these cues, pause and check in gently. I sense some frustration there, did I get that right? That question alone can de-escalate most conversations. It proves you're not following a script, you're present. Learn to listen beneath the surface. A quiet voice may mean exhaustion or fear. A sharp tone might mask anxiety or pressure from someone else. Your empathy allows the customer to exhale, to feel safe enough to tell you what's really wrong. Don't confuse empathy with guessing. You're not reading minds, you're reading emotions and verifying them with respect. Managers can teach this skill by reviewing calls together, not for errors, but for emotional signals missed or captured. It changes coaching from correction to awareness. Key insight. Empathy begins when curiosity replaces assumption. Takeaway. Don't just hear what was said, sense what was felt. Every professional in customer service eventually meets the angry voice, the raised tone, the harsh words. Your power lies in your response, not their emotion. The first rule, don't take the emotion personally. Customers are reacting to pain, not to you. Remind yourself, this frustration existed before I answered. Second, breathe intentionally. A single deep breath slows your heartbeat and lowers your vocal pitch, both signals of calm authority. Customers subconsciously mirror that calm. Third, acknowledge before resolving. Phrases like "I can tell this has been really difficult" validate emotion without agreeing with blame. Once emotion is acknowledged, logic returns to the conversation. Fourth, set emotional boundaries. Empathy doesn't mean absorbing someone else's stress. After a tough call, take 60 seconds to reset, stretch, look away from the screen, or journal one positive moment from the interaction. Leaders can model this by praising composure, not just compliance. Teams that value emotional control build stronger resilience and lower burnout. Key insight. You can't pour empathy from an empty cup. Takeaway. Your calm is not weakness, it's leadership in motion. Modern service lives in chat boxes, emails, and AI-assisted replies, yet empathy still matters more than ever. Digital empathy is about tone translation. Because customers can't hear your voice, your words must carry warmth on their own. Start with personalization. Use names, acknowledge context, and reference past interactions. "Hi Annabelle, I remember you mentioned this issue last week, let's pick up from there." That single sentence builds continuity and care. Next, watch punctuation and caps. All caps reads like shouting, too many exclamation marks feel artificial. Clarity and calm tone signals professionalism. When working alongside AI or template tools, humanize the response. Read the draft aloud and ask, "Would I say this to someone sitting across from me?" If not, adjust it. Machines deliver information, humans deliver meaning. Finally, use empathy in timing. A fast reply matters, but a thoughtful one matters more. Customers can forgive delays, they rarely forgive indifference. Key insight. Technology can't care, but it can help us care better. Takeaway. Every message is a mirror of your intent. Write with humanity. Empathy isn't just for frontline agents, it's a leadership advantage. Leaders with empathy build trust, reduce turnover, and inspire authentic performance. They listen beyond metrics, to mood, motivation, and morale. Start with one-on-one curiosity. Ask team members what energizes them, not just what frustrates them. When people feel known, they give more of their best selves. During feedback, replace judgment with partnership. Let's explore what was happening in that call. Instead of, "You didn't handle that well." That subtle difference transforms fear into learning. Empathetic leaders also recognize effort, not just outcomes. A simple "I saw how calmly you handled that tough customer" can mean more than a monthly award. In moments of pressure, empathy helps leaders slow down decisions to include human context. It prevents burnout, retains talent, and models compassion. Key insight. Empathy doesn't weaken authority, it strengthens trust. Takeaway. Lead with understanding, and performance will follow. A culture of care is not built in workshops, it's built in moments, one conversation, one acknowledgement, one act of kindness at a time. Start with daily empathy rituals. Open meetings by sharing customer gratitude stories. End shifts by asking, "Who did you help today, and how did it feel?" These small habits turn empathy from a concept into a practice. Create psychological safety where people can speak openly about challenges without fear of blame. When employees feel safe, they naturally extend the same empathy to customers. Use storytelling as reinforcement. Share real examples of service moments that changed a customer's day. Stories spread faster than memos. Finally, recognize that empathy is contagious. When leaders care, teams care. When teams care, customers stay. A culture of care becomes the invisible advantage competitors can't copy. It's what turns transactions into relationships and service roles into meaningful careers. Key insight. Empathy isn't a soft skill, it's a superpower that scales culture. Takeaway. Every act of empathy multiplies, start the ripple. You've reached the end of the empathy advantage, how to win customers for life. But empathy itself, it never ends. It continues in every message you send, every call you answer, every moment you choose to listen before reacting. Service is more than solving problems. It's the quiet, daily act of restoring someone's faith in being cared for. Sometimes it's through a small word, a pause, or a tone that says, "You matter." Empathy isn't a department. It's a culture, a language, and a personal mission. When you make empathy your default response, you don't just serve better, you lead better. You build teams that stay longer, customers who believe deeper, and communities that trust faster. So as you close this audiobook, remember, every voice you meet is carrying a story. You have the privilege of being a gentle chapter in it. Thank you for listening, learning, and choosing empathy. Because the world doesn't need more perfect professionals. It needs more human ones. Special thanks to every customer service professional who shows up each day with patience, compassion, and courage.
Thank you for listening and for choosing empathy. Every time you lead with patience, understanding, and care, you make the world a little brighter. Keep showing up with compassion. Your kindness truly makes a difference.